everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I'm outside Stamford Bridge after a 1-0 win against Leicester in the Premier League. Nina, what did you make of what you saw?
3 points back in the top four. So if we look at it that way, I'm happy. But if we talk about the performance, it doesn't fill me with lots of confidence for the remainder of the season. So put it that way, I'm happy with the result, but it was a must-win game. Yep. If anything, I wanted us to score more goals, use this game as a building block for confidence and just a little bit more motivation in the team for what we have coming up. But we made hard work of it.
So coming out of this game, do you look at this with a more positive outlook going into the rest of the season or more of a negative outlook, really?
Yeah, negative. Like I said, this is not a performance that you can go to Arsenal with. No way. You know, it's not a performance that you can play against Liverpool, Forest and Newcastle, all these tougher games we have coming up. So I think we have to be quite real with ourselves here. And unfortunately, it's not just like a one-off thing. We've seen recently that performances have had a massive drop-off and we've not been able to grind out as many results as we've needed to. But I think I'm looking at all these games now and I'm thinking Maresca hopefully needs to be doing something really, really differently come these big games that we'll play, because again, Leicester will allow you to make mistakes and not get punished for it, but the teams that we will play, they won't.
So you don't think that we're going to be able to get away playing the type of football we're playing at the moment?
Do you?
I don't know.
No.
No. It's your interview, Nina.
Yeah, well, no, but no. The answer to that is no. And again, you know, we can talk about the positives. There were positives. Mark Cucurella. What happens when you shoot? You just might score a goal, guys. So I hope that the other forwards have learnt a thing or two from Mark Cucurella today. Great goal, great finish, and I mean, he deserves it. You know, Mark Cucurella always gives it his all. He's been great for us. He's been shortlisted for Player of the Season. He absolutely can get it, because I think, you know, he's been really consistent. Nobody talks about the price tag anymore. Nobody says, why did we buy him? Cucurella, what a player. Great.
It almost seems like with our transfer policy, when you look at a lot of our better players, you think, oh, hang on a second, that's the player we paid a lot of money for, who isn't part of that under 21
bracket.
Whatever it is, you know, your Caicedos, your Engios, your Cucurellas, even Neto, to be fair. He's more of a ready-made player than what we usually sign. And those seem to be the standout performers. It's not a coincidence.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, great. Caicedo equally, Enzo Fernandez, I mean, most chance creation today. He got the assist. And again, you just look at him. He was having shots himself. He's a player that his confidence has grown so much, and he's grown into his role at Chelsea so much, really taking this captain armband seriously as well. And, you know, I'm always looking at him and he's edging us on. And I'm like, I love that. You know, you never did that last year. You were shy. You were still settling into your environment. You know, you were kind of learning on the job. But now his impact is there to see. Every game he tries to make things happen. And, you know, I just still wish that, again, more players could be bombing into the box, running in, because that's Neto, yeah, for sure. But I still think, especially in the first half, the second half, you look at those situations where, all right, you'll spam a cross in, but we're not good at really to meet those crosses and put those, you know, in the box. Equally, when we play it, you know, on the ground, they get shut down too easily, or it's too many touches. And really, that's the thing we need to improve. Shoot when you've got the opportunity to, because no one's going to wait around for you to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tidy touches and then take a shot. You invited the whole back line at that point.
I actually thought aerially, in terms of set pieces and crosses, we were more threatening than usual. Not that we got anything from them in the end, but like I saw us getting really stuck, and Leicester had to dig deep to get away with not conceding at least a couple of chances. And we had plenty of moments where maybe there was a 50-50 and there was a chance for a shot, and we just don't quite do it when you think, oh, you could have given it a crack, and you end up passing backwards or sideways, recycling, same process applies.
Absolutely. And again, that's what I said, you can't play that way against the other opposition. You simply can't. You have to take those chances and just put them away, right? Equally, Sancho. I think Sancho's another player who does a little bit too much, you know, and he almost takes it up. You can't walk it in, mate. Come on, you know, you have the technique to be able to unleash a shot, maybe from the edge of the area or a little bit closer, fine, but just have that shot. Because each time he thinks that he has to do something with it, take a touch, pass it, it doesn't need to be like that. We need lots more first time finishing. You know, when's the last time we saw a player just kind of take the ball and just shoot, just have a shot? We need more of that, certainly, and I think that's why goals have decreased a little bit. There's just too much dilly-dallying with it at times, and it just needs to be a bit more direct. And then take Cucurella, for instance, took the ball, saw an opportunity, had a shot, didn't wait for another player to get back, didn't wait, you know, just had a go. I don't know
how many shots we had. Does anyone know how many shots we had? We must have had a lot more than we had against Copenhagen, though, which is why I can take more positives even though,
I mean, Reece James's goal was the first shot on target against Copenhagen.
yeah, and there wasn't many.
No.
20 shots today. How many on target?
20.
7 on target.
Seven
So
on
quite a
target.
bit better than Copenhagen.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, again, I think that sometimes the football needs to be quicker. That's what I've been frustrated at, is because I think we don't enjoy our football as much anymore, but that comes from this kind of need to just slow it down all the time. And I understand that Maresca wants us to dominate possession, but it still has to lead to something, right? We've got to do something with possession. Possession means nothing in football unless you're going to use it at your, use it to your benefit, right?
Yeah.
So I get it, but at the same time, I am happy to see Levi Colwill take some long balls up front, because someone takes that, scores it. We need more assists coming from centre backs from those positions. So yeah, Cole Palmer. Should we talk about the penalty? I think we have to address the elephant in the room. I just had a feeling. I was like, he's going through a rough patch. He's now at a point where there's almost more pressure on him for that penalty, just because he needs a goal and he's needed it, and he scored 12, and that was his first broken one. But yeah, I do feel a bit sorry for him, because again, I know it's like a personal thing. I think he's more overthinking it than ever, because again, it's almost like he thinks that next shot has to be in, that next one, and he had another one today, but he got it all wrong. It was wide, it was high, and yeah, you could just see that it got to him. But then that just shows, Palmer's a player like no other. He's a footballer, he's human. The fact that he's been superhuman and has been so incredible for us recently is just, again, he's overachieved. So I think out of anyone, he's allowed to have a rough patch, but I wouldn't mind if Palmer's rough patch ended come Arsenal and then he gets back to goal scoring ways. So all will be forgiven. But yeah, we just got to get behind him, support him, because you could see how much he cares. He walked, I think he said, hello to the players on the bench, and he walked straight into the tunnel, and then he walked out full time and walked like a lonely boy at the back.
I think he'll come back. I do think he'll come back. I just think he needs to be utilised. And
Yeah.
I think that there are times where he's maybe dropped deeper. And I think, why not just put him on the right?
Yeah.
We know he did it last season. Well, I just think that it's not a complicated thing to do, but it's been effective. So sometimes you just need go back to some familiarity. And we know he can score goals from that position and create. And we talk about balance. The guy's work rate is sensational. So I don't have a problem with Cole Palmer tracking back, because he does it, even as a 10, and he presses well. So
Yes.
I don't think there's any issues. Like there's nothing you could say to me about him playing on the right that he doesn't offer, that Madueke doesn't offer, that Sancho doesn't offer. Palmer offers all of those things.
But it's not about what he offers there on the right that other players don't. It's more who offers what he offers in his current position now. That's why I wouldn't play him there. And, we had that chat the other day. So I think, in terms of what you get when he plays there, it's brilliant. But then you kind of almost weaken us in that central role, because Palmer still is very good at keeping the ball there, keeping possession and ball retention, everything. You can keep it safe. And what you do with putting him out on the right is you risk maybe if you're playing Nkunku there or a Sancho there, potentially not the same ball protection, which is needed, because he still is the one that kind of unleashes it left and right. He can switch it quickly because he doesn't get dispossessed as easily as other players, because he is technically gifted. He knows he can keep a ball, so that's the only risk with that, even though I do get it. But we've seen Palmer score from these positions. I don't necessarily think we have to change something, because it's just up to the player individually. He's obviously got something going on right now. He's not been getting shots. I mean, against Southampton he could have had a hat-trick in that first half. Any other day he does, but let's just accept that it's a bit of a rough patch. Fair play to Maresca, I'd say, though, for bringing him off, because again, any other player, you would bring him off for a performance like that, especially if they've piled up. So definitely great. I hope that just motivates him even more. I don't have an issue with Cole Palmer staying motivated. It's not that. It's just personal rough patch. Every footballer goes through it. Dip in form, he'll be back.
Yeah. What about Nkunku? What did you make of him?
To be honest with you, he did really nothing for me, apart from get involved with a few passes. But did Nkunku really come in to be a squad player? No. And again, I'm not going to blame him solely, because I think that's up to the club as well, how we've pretty much said to him, you're not part of the plan, so good offer comes in, you're gone. But again, what does he really bring that switches things up or does something differently? I mean, do you know what I mean? You could sub him off, and it's not like you're going to say, oh, Nkunku's missing on the pitch. You know what I mean? And that's when you know a player's not really impacting the team collectively as good. And again, these are the games where he should be taking these chances to show up. We've had injuries, and he could still be doing a lot more to make the most of his time at Chelsea, whatever is left of it.
Who was a standout player for you then in this match, or if there's a couple maybe that you think need to be highlighted?
Yeah, Cucurella gets a shout. Enzo Fernandez gets a shout. I thought Wesley Fofana for his first game back at Chelsea, he was great, and you saw the reception he got from both sets of fans. Actually, you know, you can see that when a player is good and he's, you know, he can make an impression wherever he goes. He cost a lot of money, and there was that experience that we brought there. So again, you can argue that is experience that we will need there at the back, but. You know, I love Fofana because he's explosive, he's quick, his work rate is great, he's fast, and I almost think that he can do that kind of Rudiger-esque run up to the pitch as far as you can.
Yes,
do you know what I mean?
Very similar.
Very, very similar in that regard. So he reminds me of that sometimes. But yeah, again, just a player that needs a little bit more game time, hopefully, consistently. But he's a player that walks straight back into the team when he's fit. We know that.
Yeah. I think this is the thing, though. It's like, can you build a team around players who are injury prone?
Yes, well, that's the
and
question.
I'm the first to admit that. I know I like tossing, and people take the mickey out of me for it, but I value a player who's fit, and that's important to me. So, although Fofana's better than tossing when he's available, he's not available for most of the season. I don't really see much point. But listen, he's come back at a crucial time.
Yeah.
We've got a number of games. We've got a lot of points to play for. We've got the Conference League as well. How do you see us finishing things off this year? Well, this season.
Well, we're in the top 4 now. I think the Premier League is a funny league right now, isn't it?
Yes.
Because you can drop as many points as we have and you can still be in and around third. So, yeah, in that regard, great. But at the end of the day, we've got tough fixtures and you're still going to have to win a lot of them to be in and around. And, you know, with things kind of coming towards an end, most teams kind of gear up at this point in the season and just take the league by the scruff of its neck and try and, you know, achieve goals. And there's a lot of teams trying to do that now. You see Bournemouth, I think, drew. Did they draw to Spurs today?
2-2.
2-2, yeah, there you go. So again, other teams are dropping points, but we can't just look to other teams to drop points for us to, you know, grind our own luck off that. We have to put some work
Well, you
in.
have to look at who we've beaten as well. I mean, everyone's
Yeah.
beaten Leicester. Everyone beat Southampton. So
Exactly,
is it
yeah.
points gained? Not really. It's points that you had to win regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I look at the teams that have done better than us. They win their games. They win the top games. We've struggled, even in our better run of form, to win and get points off the teams that we're about to face now. So that's quite worrying. I do know what we need. We need to finish in a Champions League spot.
Jackson in attack.
Jackson in attack. Well,
We're going to win the Champions League.
yay, next year. But no, yeah. I want to say optimistic because, again, as a fan, what's the point of me giving up on a season before it's done? I want to say that we can still do this, but I think Maresca's got a big part to play because he needs to change something. You know, this team, what he's done with Neto, great. I think that will be real key in our games coming up, but he needs to install a little bit more confidence in these players and just give them the freedom to shoot. If they have an opportunity, just do it. There's no need to take an extra touch every time or pass it. You know, no one's going to be mad at you if you've scored a goal, right, because you didn't pass it. Like, that just doesn't happen, but I think we need a little bit more of a change of shape, maybe. I think we're a bit too predictable, and Leicester actually capitalised on that because they pressed us a lot as well, and they knew that where we could lose the ball. So yeah, that's just something I don't want teams doing, knowing how to set up against us. So that's up to Maresca to work out. So yeah, a lot of spotlight on him for the remaining of the season.
Thanks so much, Nina.